Alright, what we're going over today is the first project that I would have somebody do if they were just starting out in stick welding or shielded metal arc welding. What we call it is the block, because that's what you're going to eventually end up with. You're going to start out with this cross, if you will, right here. It's just a big X. And what we do is we take a 4-inch piece, weld two 2-inch pieces on each side to make the cross. And then each section, we're going to fill this up with weld in a different position. So you see right here in the 1F, it's going to be a whole bunch of beads. Then you're going to go to your 2F, then you're going to go to your 3F, then you're going to your 4F until the thing is a solid block. Now I just did this and I counted the rods when I was doing it. The 1F took 51 rods, the 2F took 65 rods, the 3F took 55 rods, and the 4F took 65 rods for a grand total of 236 rods. Once you're done with this, you will fully be able to strike an arc in any of these positions and at least run something that's worth actually putting in a typical weld joint, whether it's a groove or a fillet weld. The reason this is such a good project is because you're going to get a lot of repetition in each one of the positions. It's going to save you on material. This isn't a lot of material as far as plate goes. It's a lot of material in rod, but as far as plate goes, it's not a lot of material. If you were trying to do intro in a groove weld setting or a fillet weld setting and you're doing multiple groove welds and fillet welds, you'd be using tons and tons of plate. By the time you're done with this block, you'll be ready to go into more realistic joints. So I did this in about 4 hours a position, so it was about 16 hours. And that's somebody that already knows how to weld, so it's probably going to take somebody that's just starting out probably around 20 hours, so it's a lot of time. Alright, so now we'll get into the actual video of me doing the welds. Alright, that's 6 beads across the top. We'll keep her going. Hit 7 more on top of that.
All right, we just finished 9 passes, and I think we can make this our final layer. So the final layer is going to end up being 10 beads. Alright, we just finished up our 1F. Took a total of 55 rods to fill it. Top layer's 10 passes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fill in on our 2F now. Alright, we just finished up our 2F horizontal giant fillet weld here for our block. Came out pretty good. We got 65 more beads in that. Flat was 55, that's 65. So for the whole block we've got 120 beads in it so far. Now we're going to get into the vertical up. Alright, this is 27 beads later. We're getting on to our final 2 layers, I'm guessing. One of the things you got to watch now is when you get close to the sides there, that you don't blow a hole in it, because that's where your weakest point is. We'll get in here and do a little closer look. Hardest part with this is just keeping it even. So we're going to keep going. Final layer here for our vertical up, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. The key to not having a blowout here on your final passes is to make sure you cool it down on those edges, because them plates are only 3/16 of an inch thick, so the edges are going to get real hot. So you got to make sure you let it cool down before you do your first pass and your last pass. So we'll wrap up this 3F, I guess, and get into our 4F after we get this last layer on here. We just finished our 3F. mega multi-pass fillet weld here. See the final product. All in all, it took 51 rods to fill that up. So that's a 51 rod multi-pass fillet. We're going to move on to our overhead now. It's the last position we're going to do. Fill her in again. Alright, we're about to go into our final layer for overhead, thank God. We've already got 55 rods in this thing. So we'll get started on our final layer and wrap up the block project. Alright, we just finished up our 4F. It took 65 rods. I don't know how many layers. It was unpleasant, but it's done. So I'll clean up all the sides. We can take one final look at it and move on. Alright, this is the final product. You can see how we call it the block project. It just turned into a big square block of weld. We'll take one last look at each position here. Alright, this is the final look at our 1F. That was 51 rods. I'll look at the 2. Alright, this is the 2F. You can see it's a little bit wider. Took 65 rods. The reason the 1 has less rods is because that's the joint that has the most play in it for distortion. It's going to distort the most because there's not welds on the other sections. Look at the 3. Alright, this is your 3F. Vertical up. Let's see, we had to do that with a weave. Okay, we'll look at the 4 now. This is the 4F overhead. That was 65 rods. And that completes the block project with a grand total of 236 rods in this thing. Alright, that's it for the block project. One last look at the finished product. Thanks for watching and subscribing to TV Weld.